Hello and welcome to our first YouTube show. This is the place where you really learn practical tips, tricks, and of course, advice from your fellow entrepreneurs. And we make these videos because you are either having a hard time dealing with yourself as you push yourself to get better at serving others. And I'm your lead host, Fernando Academia Jr. of TLDR Digital Marketing, a certified digital marketing professional. I'm in a mission to introduce or reintroduce compassion for yourself and for others, helping you succeed with your mission in life as you help others to do the same. And for today's pilot episode, we'll talk about how you can leverage live streaming to get your message out to the world. So even if you are not tech savvy, you are not yet a pro in front of the camera, but you're eager to help people out through your coaching, your consulting, or service-based business, this episode is for you. And so, without further ado, please help me welcome our guest for today, the founder of UpstreamMediaPH, instructor at the Ateneo de Manila University, and a longtime friend, Glen Charles Lopez.
Hello, good evening.
There you go.
Hi, good evening, Fernando. Thank you for having me tonight.
Welcome, Glenn, to our pilot episode. And how are you doing today?
I'm good. It's the Friday. I'm looking forward to the weekend. I'm excited because I'm kind of going on a personal trip. It's been a long time, so looking forward to a restful weekend so that we can deliver more messages in the future, helping you out and helping other people out.
That's good to know, and that's good to hear. So, again, I would really want our audiences to know more about you.
Yep.
So, to start off, tell me what it is that you do, because I really want to know more about it, and perhaps our audiences too.
Yeah, hello again. Good evening from where we are right now. And my name is Glen Lopez. I'm the technical director of Upstream Media PH. I also do some teaching on the side, but I mostly do live streaming. And it's something that we pivoted to during this pandemic, but we've been exploring that idea. I've been into video production for the longest time, and it's something that I enjoy. And it's something that there's an intersection between what I teach and also like what I enjoy learning about and also what I document. So that's my forte in video production. Sometimes I do sports photography as well, something that I enjoy on the side.
All right, that's very interesting. I'll dig deeper about that, of course, on live streaming as well. But if you don't mind me asking,
Yep.
would you mind explaining to me how you got into live streaming, and perhaps tell us how long have you been doing this for?
Yeah, I've been doing this since around 2017. One thing that I note is that I specialized in sports photography, and that's what I wanted to really focus on. And one thing that I noticed during that time was that I was covering sports in the professional level, mostly in photos, mostly in football. And I noticed that there are a lot of community events that are that are happening during that time. So why not give that opportunity? And why not try to find that next big player in the scene of football. And it's a gap that I saw during that time, not just for football, but the first partners that we had for upstream media was actually floorball, not floorball, ultimate frisbee, like where they throw discs, and what's this, and futsal. So those are growing sports, and sports here is a bit challenging to grow. And the challenge there that I'm trying to fill is that how will we know that the tree fell in the forest if no one documented, if no one actually covered that. And trying to uplift the spirits, like athletes, when they see themselves play, score a goal or score a nice point, they actually get hyped, and it becomes their highlight reel. And hopefully down the line it will become part of their growth as an athlete as well. And then on the other side, I've been doing a lot of because I teach in a university as well. I got into live streaming primarily also on the side of those lectures that are actually just delivered in a single venue, and why not send them over to the internet and reach a wider audience? So that's where I got my start, and mostly looking at where I am situated in the situation.
All right. So would you consider yourself a football aficionado as well?
Probably just for the Southeast Asian scene, or probably just for the Philippine scene, but not necessarily in the world. But what I'm interested in is that, of course, one gap that we're still trying to fill up is that if you look at the countries that have football as their main sport, as their national pastime, their level of coverage is actually very high, because of course, like, finances are actually coming in, financial resources are coming in, so that, and it allows them more flexibility and more ways to experiment, and it has to be presentable in terms of the product that they want to show. So I'm a fan of how they do things, so that eventually we'll be able to apply them locally, and not just for football but also for other sports.
All right. So you meant that coverage of these sports overseas are,
At the
say,
highest level.
all right,
Yes, at
and,
the highest level, definitely.
and it's something that you are really looking forward to have here in the Philippines as well.
Yes, definitely. But I'll try to pull you on the other side, where I think a lot of our audience actually converge, Fernando. No, if you look at where, aside from sports, because it's kind of in a halt right now, I'll pull you to the other side, where learning is actually something that I really want to push for as well. You know, there are a lot of conferences right now. There are a lot of webinars and talks that they brought online, simply because it's the only way that we can gather together. No, and if you think about it, it's a way for us to deliver knowledge to other people. And I think it's something that maybe would resonate with other people. Like what we're having right now. If this was a physical event, we would be probably looking at a small venue, probably look at 20 to 30 people
Mhm.
attending. So if you will can reflect that online, or maybe reach a bigger audience, then it will be beneficial, not just for those who are listening, but also for you reaching a bigger audience down the line.
That's really interesting. And for sure, you have encountered a lot of issues
Yep.
streaming, especially different kinds of people who would
Mhm.
want to stream as well. What are the common problems that you encounter while dealing with these clients who are new to streaming?
Of course, most of the time, it's their big question is how or why. But this time
Mhm.
around, because everyone moved towards a faster digital transformation, because we cannot gather in physical spaces, we have now, and I'd like to give points to, to everyone as well. Like if I told you we're gonna have a Zoom meeting, or a Teams meeting, it's easy for us to just come in. And I think it's some skill that has been baked into most people right now, because you have to show up, and you have to click the links, you have to figure out how to put in the meeting ID, the meeting password, and so on and so forth. That's not a problem now anymore. That's
Right.
not a problem anymore. Now, the problem now is that people are, or clients are looking to, of course, it depends on the budget and depends on the resources that they have. Can they elevate their live streams or their productions to the next level? It can be as basic as gathering in a Zoom meeting, or a Teams meeting, or a Google Meet, and have the speaker share the screen, and that's it. That's the webinar already. That's the program. But down the line, people, of course, the more complexity that you introduce to the programs that you are going to broadcast or to live stream, the more technical things that you have to prepare for.
Mhm.
Therefore, I'll just answer the question, right? The common problem right now is to, I guess, the biggest question is how to make audiences engaged. For example, we can try to read from the chat. Although, of course, we encourage you to type in the chat if you have questions or comments, and let us know where you're watching from. Those are like, you know, points where we
Mhm.
can engage our viewers. So that's something that we try to solve for our clients, and I think that's a bigger question right now. What would be, or how would you increase the engagement of people who are watching your live stream? Of course, it's difficult enough to bring them over, and just try to grab their attention, keep their attention for as long as you can, if they are interested.
Yeah, especially even in live events, it's already difficult to even capture that and retain the attention of your audiences. What more
Hmm.
online? Especially
Definitely.
we're in a country that internet is not that really reliable like in others, and uh, some even are new to the technologies used. I mean, sure they know Zoom, but if they have to troubleshoot, they wouldn't know where to start. And
Yes, definitely.
uh, so for the live streams you have done and the shows you have done,
Hmm.
what are the common mistakes they usually your clients or the people usually commit, and how do you think they can avoid that, or what simple steps can they do to avoid those common mistakes?
I think a common mistake is not really preparing properly at the
Mhm.
very least. No? So if you can prepare properly, even if it's just I mean, with the power of video editing right now, it's very easy to record sentences one after another and then edit them together if you can prepare your script like that. But if you will, a common mistake is that if you don't prepare, of course, you're preparing to fail. Test, test, and test, like a response to what we're having right now.
Right.
Excuse me, our global emergency right now. But you have to test uh, what you're trying to do so that it will be almost foolproof when you go live. And just have a single idea that you want to put across and interact with your audience, and that's it. I think.
Hmm.
Yeah, just make sure that you're heard and you're seen on the screen, because yeah, it still goes back to testing. So if you're
Right,
trying
right.
out new cameras, if you can like increase the size of my screen here, Fernando, I'd like to
Sure.
share with everyone where I am right now. So this is my virtual studio. There we go. So this is my virtual studio. I'm monitoring the stream over here. I have the questions prepared, but this is something that, of course, part of preparing. And then I have my view over here of the live stream. And also, if I'm gonna share to you, I have another camera here that shows my entire studio. This is where I mostly work, but over there is where I produce shows for other people. So I have two different setups for different uses as well.
All right. Yeah, and for me, excuse me. For me, I'm really familiar with this stuff,
Hmm.
but thinking about it, and of course, having been exposed to how things are done,
Mhm.
if you're the one uh, delivering the content, it's
Yes.
really uh, a different story. Considering people are working separately in their respective homes, there is no singular person that they can call for tech support that can set things up for them.
Oh, definitely,
So,
definitely.
what would be your main recommendations so that those who would want to start, excuse me,
You good, brother?
what would be your main recommendation so that those who would want to start streaming but doesn't know where to do not know where to start can somehow be confident that they can do it?
The starting point is always, I think, the technologies that we have. No, if you can go on board, let's say, I'm sure most people would probably have heard Open OBS already, or probably StreamYard, or what we're using right now, Restream, or as simple as having the app of where you want to stream and going live from there. Instagram allows you to go live on its own app. Facebook allows you to go live on its own app. TikTok, I think I just learned the other day, TikTok allows you to go live on its own app.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
as long as you're able to prop up that phone, look presentable, sound good, and have a message in mind that you have and that you want to deliver, then you're good. It's like storytelling, Fernando. No? If you think about storytelling, you have to have a start and a middle and an end. And if you can deliver that point, then you're good to go. Now, how good will you deliver that message? It's like let's go back to the analogy of sports.
Mhm.
Sports people or athletes actually dedicate a lot of time and effort and sacrifice in their lives so that they can do one thing very well. They can compete at the highest level that they can reach. So if you think about it, it's actually repetition and, I guess, for lack of a better term, competition. The more that you go through that cycle of training, trying to live stream, delivering your message, and figuring out what you can improve on the next one, like 1% improvement, then it will make your live streams a lot better. Of course, you can upgrade everything. You
Mhm.
can upgrade, you can go for the fanciest equipment. But if you talk like, "Oh, welcome to this live stream. Thank you so much for joining us," then that will be a problem. Then if you like, it's like you didn't really reflect and look back at how you performed in the previous exercises, so to speak,
Mhm.
of how you did your live stream. Does that make sense? Is that
Yeah,
something that?
yeah, definitely. For me, it's always been, or recently, I found out that I have a trouble really speaking in front of the camera,
Mhm,
especially in full English, and that's why I started doing my own YouTube videos. That's why I started going online with a lot of people overseas, joining book clubs here and there,
mhm,
networking events online, just so I can
mhm,
start speaking in English and be exposed to that. And somehow that muscle is slowly being trained. Somehow it gets me through each meeting I get through. Uh, I find more mistakes to improve on, or more areas to improve on, but also I find that I can express myself better now compared to before. So, of course, there are a lot of things. I'm not sure if this happened to you,
mhm,
but for those who would want to start putting out their faces online,
mhm,
there are a lot of things going on in our heads, and we'll talk about that much later. And
mhm,
so, hang on to that. Before we continue, so earlier you mentioned if you have a phone, you can start using that on
mhm,
either on TikTok, Instagram, or on
mhm.
YouTube.
Yeah.
So, would you recommend that that's something they should first purchase a good phone with a good camera?
I think even without purchasing it, we can just assume that a lot of people have a phone or a laptop already as a starting point. If you
Mm-hmm.
can't go live yet, make I guess a rehearsal, a pseudo live. Just record yourself in one take and try to see how it goes, and
Mm-hmm.
then try to go live the next time. Or like if it's not frequency, you can also go for the length. Like for example, go live for 5 minutes on Instagram, deliver one message, and then leave it. And then go to the next one. Okay, I'll go live on Instagram for 7 minutes or 10 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
and then stay at it, and then go to a longer length, a lengthier live stream, and so on and so forth. So because different time constraints actually can only contain so much content. Like I think I was telling you the other day, I prepared
Mm-hmm.
a 9 point outline with 3 parts each.
All right.
Sorry, a 9 point outline divided into 3 parts each. What happened was I was aiming for a minute or two. I ended up with 4 minutes. So it's very easy to over prepare. And somehow, it's very easy to over prepare. And if you're not going to be careful with the words and the sentences that you will be delivering, then you can just practice for it first, or you can write the entire script. It depends on, I guess, what we can call a workflow as well, and what works for you.
Interesting, interesting. And just so we can give people a more practical view on things,
Mm-hmm.
would you rather buy lights or a microphone after you have your phone?
You're putting me on the spot, of course. Now I'm kidding. Uh, People are tolerant more on crappy video. I think that's what I've learned for the
All
longest
right.
time. But most people, if they don't understand audibly what's being talked about, daily. I think it's the number one thing that you have to do better. Now, if you're not gonna purchase, you can use your headset. I think I was having a meeting with someone, or I'm wearing one right now. This headset is actually a gaming headset, but at the very least, there's a mic that's closer to the sound source, which is your mouth. So if you have a headset and if it stays here, you still have something that you still have a microphone that's closer to the sound source. That's the rule.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a microphone right here, and now I have another microphone on top of my camera. They actually sound very different. So aside from having that idea, of course, you have to be audible. You have to be clear, not just in terms of your message, but also like
Mm-hmm.
the sound quality that you go for. So
Right.
I say go for the microphone first.
All right. So, so to those viewing this stream right now, first get a phone, or if you have your phone already, prep it. Second, get your own headset, or I'm not sure if iPhone comes with. I think iPhone doesn't come with earphones anymore. Some phones still do.
Yep.
Uh, then after that, you can get the lights.
Yeah, I think you still have to have a proper mount for your
All right.
for your phone. I think that's a lot where a lot of people are having problems. Give me a minute. So, for example, you want to prop up your phone. There's this accessory like this. There are monopods. There are like
Mm-hmm.
selfie sticks that you can use that come with those small tripods. But in
Right.
this case, I'd just like to share my other phone. I don't have my other phone, but in this case, oops.
Oh, you have other phone. No,
Yes,
just kidding.
I have my old phone actually. So in this case, or let's just change this here. This actually stretches out, and then I can have this phone right here, and I can have the stand over here. So I can prop it up this way. So it just makes it easier to actually
Mm-hmm.
just put up a phone rather than, of course, the other challenge is just leave it like this. Ideally, your camera should be eye
Mm-hmm.
level to what you are showing or where you are at this time.
All right. Yeah, I have one
There
too.
we go, a phone holder.
I used to use my iPhone for as my main camera,
Mhm,
usually for Zoom meetings, just because the camera that comes with the laptop is usually not that good, especially
mhm,
in a low light situation.
mhm.
So aside from that, what do you think are the telltale signs that people might need your services instead of them doing it on their own?
I think the biggest hurdles that people actually try to do it is when they start doing it themselves already. In the same way that live streams, in the same way that we were talking about it earlier,
Mm-hmm.
live streams is like a muscle to me. I've been trying out several different technologies, and usually people come to me if they want a series, like so that they can focus on inviting their guests, just focusing on just showing up
Mm-hmm.
is like on stage, Fernando. Just imagine you rent a venue, you rent a sound system, you show up, grab the microphone, stay in front of people, and then you're good, right? As long as you have a LCD projector or a LED wall so that you can project your presentations or a TV, so to speak. So that's the easier thing. Now convert that to online. If you just want to show up and present and host,
Mm-hmm.
then you can get someone like Upstream Media so that you can do remote. We do remote video production, so we can just stay at home, you stay at home, we stay at home or wherever, and then we can help you out with those kinds of things. No? So it's usually that the more complicated programs that people start asking for help, or at least if they don't have time to work on it. Do some people do power through and
All right.
find a way. It might not be the smoothest, at least from our end, but at least something happened. So it depends on
Mm-hmm.
how much investment also you can make.
All right. And if I hope you don't mind me asking this,
Yeah,
and I'm
sure.
sure those who are watching would like to know,
Mhm.
what would be the top three questions
Mm.
usually prospective clients would ask you?
Do we have a top of mind? Will you have a tech rehearsal? Where will it stream? And sometimes there are questions that they thought that they wouldn't have. Um, and of course, how much? I think that's the other thing because we try to create value, of course, for the people that we work with, and we always aim to do that. So that's the kind of questions that we receive. Most of the time, people come to us with a slight idea of how things work already, and then
Mhm.
we just expand on that. Like for example, a quick tip or a pro tip for everyone: if you are streaming to a Facebook group and that account that you use to stream in the
Mhm.
Facebook group is not that active, there might be a chance that even if you have a big Facebook group audience or number of people in that Facebook group, not everyone will be notified because it will
Oh,
be a challenge. So there are like algorithm things as well, algorithm
glitches,
challenges.
right?
Not necessarily glitches, but like because the platform measures how you interact with the group and how other people interact with the group and how people interact with each other. So it's something that is also being considered as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, on in those questions, you might also have heard some inhibitions from
Mm.
from prospective clients. Are you okay to share some
Yeah,
of them
sure.
if you have? Yeah.
I think it's mostly the cost because it is an investment. There are, I mean, like to be completely honest with you, and sometimes it's the very uncomfortable, what's this? Very uncomfortable thing that we discuss. It's budget. It's the financial investment that you will be doing. For example, sometimes we don't really put in line items anymore, but we will do it for you. One example would be coming up with a tech script, technical script that we would follow and that you would refer to, so that because for live streams plan, we have to plan what will come out at certain times. So, for
Mhm.
example, after our discussion, will there be another video to end, a plug, um, a share screen, someone else will be presenting, and so on and so forth. No, so it's something that's intangible, not necessarily tangible for our clients, but it's what they pay for. Peace of mind,
Mhm.
essentially. As long
Right.
as we understand their main program, we can come up and put together uh, at pieces of technology so that we can deliver that as well. Of course, it's nonstop. What's this? What's the term? It's nonstop improvement for all for us also.
Hmm. Right. I remember when we started streaming, or
Mm-hmm,
when I was trying to stream for an organization. Uh, I used to do it just on Zoom as well,
mm-hmm,
but I even tried to get Restream for myself.
mm-hmm,
I also remember getting into StreamYard, and there Be Live, Ecam Live,
mm-hmm,
just so I can test things out.
mm-hmm,
Uh, but just those pieces of software or apps already take considerable time to learn how I mean to learn how to operate.
mm-hmm,
What more with technology? Also, I didn't. Some people wouldn't usually know if, or let's use my Fuji X-T1 for example.
mm-hmm.
I used to think that since it can be connected with mini HDMI,
Yeah.
that it can be used as a webcam or it
Mm-hmm.
can be tethered on a MacBook. But
Yes.
when a few hours before a stream, I was dumbfounded when I discovered that yeah, not all cameras can be connected directly to the laptop as a webcam, and
Oh, definitely.
that's when I searched Google and found out yeah I have to have the dongle
Yeah.
to uh, what do you call it again, a video capture card, is
Yes.
that it?
Video capture card. Yep.
And a lot more. So there are a lot of things to consider in starting a stream, especially if you're introducing a lot of technologies. For example, this Sony A6000 camera, or this microphone, and there will be settings in your laptop to fix as well.
Yes,
And
definitely.
those are things that usually are not thought about or placed into context when people would want to ask suppliers about the cost. So they would think that Zoom, or sorry, yeah, we know how to use Zoom, but we just want you to control the Zoom. Why is it that expensive?
Mhm.
But the preparation and the integration of the system doesn't really work
Mhm.
easily as they would imagine.
Yeah.
So
Can I add
uh,
to what your thought,
sure,
what you were talking about? Part of it is also, planning it out. And one thing that I'm kind of half and half, probably a bit controversial, is that the use of virtual backgrounds. No, for
mhm,
example, if you are streaming directly from Zoom to Facebook or directly to YouTube, most
right,
of the time you will see the Zoom logo on the lower right hand side, and virtual backgrounds are used. Well, number one, to hide stuff behind people, and number two, so that a brand presence will be there, the logo of the event, a decent background. Not everyone can actually have cameras so that they can look better, or sound, or microphones so that they can sound better.
right.
But the use of virtual backgrounds and then integrating it with another layout, like for example, can you show us like the side by side with the background? So in this case, if we did use, there we go. So if we did a side by side and we used a virtual background, still with, am I pointing to the right direction? Still
Yeah,
with
you
this
are, you are.
logo, then it becomes repeated. No, it's something that will be noisier on your screen. So for me, I really don't go for the virtual backgrounds unless it's a Zoom only event.
Interesting also. I've
You can
been
go back to the layout. Props to Fernando. Give him claps on the chat as he controls this live stream. It's very relieving for me to actually just show up and yeah, give him a clap on the chat there. Sorry, go ahead.
So, guys, FYI, it's my first time to use Restream live with a guest. I learned about this tool last night when we had our tech meeting. Uh, After he introduced me to the platform, I really stayed up late to make sure that I would somehow know how to operate this today. So, uh, I'm sure we have covered a lot, Glenn, and
Mhm.
I'll give you a few minutes to rest while
Sure,
I
go ahead.
have. Let me do some announcements for us to have a breather. So, and for our announcements, I just want to let you know about an incredible opportunity for you to get free tips and strategies to build your and monetize your personal brand. If you go to tldrcorp.com slash tldrcorp.com/brand summit, you will see that you will see what I am talking about. But here is the quick overview. My good friend Rory Vaden is a New York Times bestselling author and a Hall of Fame speaker. And he and his wife founded a company called Brand Builders Group. And they have put together a huge online summit where they are interviewing some of the most influential personal brands in the world on their never before shared secrets of how they became who they are today. You might recognize some people here on screen, but also it's a chance for you to learn from people like Les Brown, a world-renowned motivational speaker, Lewis House, a New York Times bestseller, and also author and host of the School of Greatness podcast, Michael Hyatt of CEO of Thomas Nelson. Uh, I think Dennis Rodman is here as well. Ed Tate, a world champion of public speaking, Jay Baer, a New York Times bestselling author of Utility, and of course, Kevin Harrington, original shark on Shark Tank. So if you would want to try this out for free for 30 days, the link is tldrcorp.com/brand summit. This is a rare opportunity for you to hear their stories, how they became New York Times bestselling authors, how they became high paid keynote speaking keynote speakers and how they grown massive online followings. And they'll share to you some tips and how exactly they have done what exactly they have done to create large multiple seven-figure businesses. If you are someone who is looking to create any type of influence, you have to check this out. Again, it is totally free and you are learning from the masters who have actually done this. So I would really want to encourage you to head over to tldrcorp.com/brand summit to get free 30-day access to the influential personal brand summit. And at least take a look. I feel super confident that you will find it valuable. There you go. That was a mouthful. And we're back for a few more questions with you, Glenn.
Yeah, thank you
Uh,
for having me again. Don't forget influential personal brand summit tldrcorp.com/brand summit. I'll make sure to visit that later
all
as well
right.
because I want a
Thank you for
large
reminding me
following.
that that's still on screen. And let's circle back to how long you've been doing this for.
Yeah, sure.
If you have been doing this for about 4 years, 5 years,
Mm,
2017,
mm.
if my math serves, if my math is right,
Mhm.
uh, were there times when you felt things that you do seem repetitive, or does it ever get boring for you?
I think that's the nice thing about what we're trying to do. It needs a certain level of repetition. It needs a certain level of knowing how to do certain things so that it will be your baseline for the next one, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Because if it's not repetitive, then just imagine you being taught how to log into a platform every single time. So, and the way that it's repetitive is so that you can build up on a next skill set. So, for example, and if you're doing basic live streams, you just have a camera, then good. You have your outline, then good. What if you want to have a lower third, the graphic down below, of the question that's coming up so that when you say it, people can actually have a visual representation of
Mm-hmm.
what's being said. That's the next level. And then another level would be having a background, having a musical background, having a music bed while things are happening like this one. And then the next level would be, oh, for sports, what if we actually have a one camera replay? What if we have a four camera replay? What if we can distribute the signal to 10 people at the same time? So, it becomes more complicated because I'm a technical director. At least that's the hat that I primarily wear. The repetition also brings you to the higher level. As long as, of course, you try to do it and you try to improve certain things. Does it ever get boring? Yes, of course. If it's something that I think I ran a show for almost a year, and every time
Mm-hmm.
I'd show up on that particular show because everything is already templated. The hosts know what to do, the people asking questions know how to do, the guests almost know almost always what to do because they just show up on the platform. And it kind of gets boring, but it when I tried multitasking for some
Mm-hmm.
other time, I still caught myself really actively listening and actively trying to direct the show and work the show, even if I'm already pressing the buttons almost automatically.
Mm-hmm. So each time you repeat this process is also another time to improve on it. Did
Oh,
I get that right?
definitely.
Right.
Yes.
All right. There are a few more questions.
Go ahead.
One would be a bit trivial.
Mm,
I'm sure there are people who would like to start streaming and are excited about gear.
mm.
What's your moral compass or decision criteria in deciding the next gear to purchase? Just so people won't go to Lazada immediately just to purchase stuff.
Can I turn off my light because I'm ashamed of what I'm supposed to say. But I'm also on the other end of the spectrum. I'm looking out. I'm actually really liking this particular brand of streaming gear. But the challenge there is to really just show up. I hope I'm answering a question. Just steer me back later. Just show up and try to do a live stream. One thing that I've been trying to do is whenever I dress up and prepare for a class, right after I'll record a short video so that I'll try to get out of that, routine, or so to speak, just really try my hands on delivering a message as well, because I've been used to doing this for other people most of the time.
Right, right.
And it's a challenge for my hardest client is actually myself. It's the most difficult thing to do. It's a difficult thing to actually, uh, although I know my tech already, it's still difficult to write a script. It's still difficult to show up. I had a
Yeah.
show before. Yeah, it's called Uptakes, and I'm trying to revive it. I tried to do it on a weekly basis, and I almost died doing that because I had other projects on the side. But what I learned is that every time I did do that project, I also learned things that I can apply to other clients as
Mhm.
well, or to other projects as well. So it's really, part of it is taking a break. That's why there's this weekend. But also part of it is the grind, just
Right.
trying it out. And sometimes you just hide that live stream if you didn't like it. At least try to look at where you can improve and go to the next round.
All right. Uh, just so we can, let's circle back on that premise of Glenn. No.
Yep.
Uh, as you know, I'm a digital marketing consultant,
Mhm.
and it's really, the hardest client would always or would often be yourself,
Mhm.
and following all the books, video content, coaching groups I've been learning from. And after talking to hundreds of coaches and consultants and business owners for almost a year now,
Mhm.
I already learned a long time ago that video is the fastest way to build trust,
Yes.
especially if you're looking for the right people to offer your service to. But it really took me a while to swallow that in and take that courage and finally get on video. So, and even after doing that for 3 or 4 times for my own business,
Hmm.
I still did not do it consistently enough.
Mhm.
That's why I'm doing it now on my personal channel. And of course, uh, we want to earn money fast, but we also want to work with people who appreciate us for the value that we bring them.
Mhm.
But if those people can't see us and can't know us because we're not online, especially our faces, uh, how can they reach us? And how can we know if we're the right fit if we don't meet at all?
Yeah.
And that's why, after doing everything digital marketing for a long time, my agency started to zoom in on micro videos, and
Mhm.
that's why now I've been helping consultants, coaches, and owners of service based business to get over their inhibitions and fears of getting their face out there, but also so that they can share their own genius. Again, if you're coaching or consulting, or if you're offering a service, there, you know this by now, that there's no really one way to do things. Even if you try to template every situation,
Yeah.
there would always be something unique in each client.
Yeah.
And with that in mind, have you encountered people who are uncomfortable on camera, and how are you helping them, or how have you been prepping them for each show?
I think the interesting thing is that I'm in the realm of media. So a lot of the people that I work with are almost always comfortable with the camera.
Mhm.
But of course, for them to reach that, then they were still doing the work. They did the work, and they're more confident in delivering the message. But I worked with a couple of people that doesn't have hosting experience at the very least. So because part of what I feel is part of what I believe in is that a live stream can actually be good if you have a good host, because yeah, they
Mhm.
have to stretch, they have to give spiels, and so on and so forth. So if I tell people, if you have a good host, then you should be okay, especially if you're running into some trouble with technicals and whatnot, like guests, and guests
Right.
couldn't get into Zoom and whatnot. But in order for them to prepare, at least for those who are not really hosty or very good in hosting, what they do is really prepare a script. At the very least, prepare, because it gives them the confidence of knowing what to say. It gives them the confidence of this will come next, and I mean, some people can actually be a bit stiff, a bit
Right.
difficult to, a bit not too flexible in that sense, but they are able to learn. And most of the time, after, let's say, a live stream, a program, I do a debriefing with the client, and we do discuss like points of for improvement. Could have done this, could have done that. Of course, that's part of the service that's being offered as well. And then even if they don't, even if we won't work together again for the following project that they will have, it's a skill, it's something that they can carry to towards the next time that they have to do it, because not everyone hosts all the time, not every, but of course it's very inherent right now that media and video is the primary way of communicating. So
Mhm.
yeah, we have to get comfortable with it.
Right.
Of course, on the
Especially.
other end,
Mhm.
sorry. Of course, on the other end, I've worked with academics as well. If they're gonna present, they're gonna present, and that's it. As long as they have their slides on screen and they know what they're going to say because they wrote it as a paper already, they're good. They really don't go for the, the presentation value, like the show, so to speak. Sorry,
Right.
go ahead.
Yeah. You know, I, I, you know that I can stand in front of a stage and speak to a lot of people,
Yes, definitely. I know that.
but I noticed that it's different if you are conversing on them because you are not scripted. The stage is not yours, and you
Hmm.
share that space. That's why you tend to lose your train of thought,
Hmm.
or you don't know how to what to answer next,
Hmm.
and that's something that you can be you should train yourself to do,
Hmm.
especially going online now that you can't really tap and joke around much with the people on screen like you would in a in a physical space.
Hmm.
And yeah, being comfortable in a conversation uh, is something you should also develop when doing a live stream. And as I'm doing this now, it's actually one of my hurdles. That's why
Hmm.
I took courage and finally get on cam. So
Yeah.
uh, I'm really interested now, Glenn.
Mm.
We've talked about a lot. We talked about many things about streaming,
Hmm.
gear, preparation, inhibitions of clients, their common mistakes.
Hmm.
But for you, what would be or what would an ideal stream look like for you?
A stream that internet doesn't go bad. The very least. I think that's the biggest thing, because we're all
Mhm.
connected through the internet. And if one internet connection is a bit, more troublesome. I was having a meeting earlier, and a person that I was meeting with had a challenging internet connection, but the conversation was difficult, definitely. So an ideal stream would include a good host, graphics,
Mhm.
very good interaction with the audience, and you build that. Of course, that third thing, you really build that with your audience. And the other thing is that you have a flow and you have a clear message that you want to deliver. Of course, it can either be entertaining or educating, but I think a lot of people go for the edutainment at this point.
Right.
That's the perfect stream for me. And to add to that, I will raise it to the second power or the third power as an exponent. We've been figuring out how to include applauses in people coming in and out of the stage, because if you are in a physical event, for example, let's call on Mr. Fernando Academia Jr. for our first presentation. That time of you going up the stage is not translatable. It's not yet, at least we're figuring it out. It's not
Mhm.
yet translatable online. And we thank Mr. Fernando Academia for his presentation, and people, clap. Now, if you notice and if you've been following virtual events, a lot of these actually don't have that element.
Mhm.
When one presentation ends, a video ends, and then host come back, and then transition to the next one. So we're trying
Mhm.
to figure that out online. But a perfect stream would be, yeah, a combination of you being prepared and delivering your message, and also people interacting with you.
All right. Uh, just a few questions left, but before I go through with my next questions, perhaps our audiences have questions that they would like to ask Glenn or
Mm,
me, with whoever. If you have questions, type them in the comments so we can answer them for you.
mm,
If you have concerns getting on camera or difficulty finding out which gear to purchase first,
mm,
uh, or our recommendations where to shop, I'm not sure.
mm.
Uh, Amazon, maybe. Any questions at all, feel free to put them on the chat
Yeah, put them in
so
the
we
chat,
can
definitely.
answer them for you and help you out.
Mm-hmm.
So, while waiting for that, uh, you've described today the ideal stream that you would want to have.
Hmm.
Have you ever felt or have you done that ideal stream for yourself before, or have you been invited to a stream like that before?
I think I was able to do that already before. Partly because a lot of it is front loading. I do have
Front
to
loading.
design a front, lower third. Do have to design how it will look like if any comment comes up. What
Mm,
would be the intro? Actually, if you've been noticing here, one of the videos that has been looping is my opening billboard for the show that
mhm,
I do. And in between, maybe a couple of elements, like a promo, a side by side promo, and motion graphics. It's something that I want to still figure out and integrate with the live stream that I'm personally doing for myself, not necessarily for other people. But it's always a playground for me. If there are other live streams, like for example, poetry reading, how dynamic can a poetry reading live stream look like?
right.
So we try to in we try to what's this integrate different elements, and I think a keyword here, so that you don't have like the questions that Fernando has in this live stream, the keyword there is having segments, so that you can start and end small stories in between your entire live stream, so that okay, it's the next segment already. What will it look like? What will it feel like? What will it sound like? And so on and so forth. I think that's where I'm headed mostly.
All right. Um, so I think there are no questions from the audiences, and
Ah.
that can either be a confirmation that we're doing good. Oh, all right. We got a question from our biggest fan and supporter. Is it costly to maintain live stream gears?
It's not costly to maintain. It's no, it's more costly if you don't use them. I think
Mhm.
that's the biggest thing. It's more costly to upgrade them. And if you
All
start
right.
upgrading it and you go down that gear acquisition syndrome hole, then it becomes more expensive. But like maintaining it, as long as you have the basic ones, basic cables, then it should be fine. It's just really the gear acquisition syndrome that becomes the problem.
Right. So that's why it's something I particularly asked a while back
Mm,
about gear because somehow for other people they already feel the sense of accomplishment
mm,
as if they have done a live stream
mm.
by just purchasing gear, and they don't really push through with doing their streams
Hmm.
thereafter. So they
Hey,
already feel good about the they already feel good because they have gear, but they haven't really tested it out.
you're touching on a very difficult subject there, Fernando. But you want me to do like a very quick overview of my setup here,
Oh
so we
sure,
can.
let me
Yes.
put
That
you
I'm
on
telling the
alert.
technical director to, to change the layout. So okay, welcome to this studio. I actually have a couple of things. No? So I'd like to start with the microphone because it's in the front of you. This is the Rode Pod mic, and it's connected to a Focusrite uh, audio interface over here. So this mic goes directly, and you can see the green sound, the green light whenever I talk. It shows up. And then I have a couple of cameras. So this camera is actually Sony A6000, and this one is a Sony A7 II. And it's
Mm-hmm.
connected to this 8M Mini because there are two cameras. And I actually have a bonus camera right here. This is a GoPro that is like almost a CCTV, and then I'm running it off my laptop. Although I just joined Fernanda's live stream, this is also what I use to live stream, at least for myself, if I am live streaming for my own personal brand. But if I'm gonna do work, I actually move to the billet core computer with more monitors and more CPU power, I guess. And yeah, that's it's oh, and the other thing is that I'm using an Elgato key light right now, so I can press the stream deck with the buttons, and I can change the intensity. Let's try to change the intensity here. So this is 60%, this is
Intense.
25%. And then I can change the color with a couple of buttons, and so on and so forth. So
So,
yes.
Glenn, while you're at it,
Yeah.
Chanel Season is asking, what is your favorite live stream? What is your favorite live stream upgrade so far? And
Live
yeah, I
stream
think
app.
we'll go with that. I think we'll go with that first. What is your favorite live stream upgrade so far?
My favorite live stream upgrade so far is this Elgato key light because I can simply press the on and off button on my stream deck, and then it turns on and it turns off. Yes, that's my favorite upgrade. And I've been using Ecamm Live mostly for personal recordings and trying to go live as well. And then restream to distribute my live streams. Yeah, free app. Sorry, am I supposed to
Right.
answer this?
Yeah, sure. For the free apps we have for live stream, what would be your top favorite to use, or perhaps your main recommendation?
My favorite app to use is most probably. Oh my
Zoom.
god!
Just kidding.
Yeah, I think that's the easiest. Because I have experience with a lot of tools already. Um, if I'm gonna go for a free tier, can you come back on the screen, Fernando, so that I can
Sure.
talk to you? There we go. Yeah, I'm wearing my TD hat.
Yeah,
So
I didn't notice that even.
so my favorite app would be still OBS if I'm a solo stream, if I'm doing game streams. But if I'm bringing in guests, I think no, it's not free. Ah, what's that with the duck? I forgot. You mentioned it earlier. If it's not
Uh,
Restream, it's the other
Ecam
one.
Ecam Live,
The other one.
Be Live,
One more.
StreamYard.
StreamYard.
All right,
So there's a free tier, although it has a watermark, but you can use that, and it's cloud based.
right. And of course, our top supporter Jamie says that lot of cameras, more angles, more details.
Yes, I can do a mukbang stream on this, and just give you a finger heart if it focuses. There we go. You can have a finger heart.
All right. So we're nearing, or we just crossed the hour mark. I think Chanel is just
Trolling. She's
trolling
just
you here.
trolling in the chat. But thank
Why
you for
is it not?
dropping by, Chanel.
Or did you buy your mechanical keyboard from her? No, just kidding.
No, we're just for lack of a better term, we call it budol.
Uh huh.
We try to convince each other or other people that we need more mechanical gear, mechanical keyboards, but we have only a pair of hands. So how many keyboards do you really need? Anyway, go
Right.
ahead, Fernando.
Oh, all right. So we'll take this home. Before we end, Glenn, where can the people watching know more about your services and how can they reach you?
Yeah, you can reach out to facebook.com/upstreammediaph, Instagram with the same username, and we have a YouTube channel as well. We're looking forward to bringing you more content, but it's something that we're working on because we're also working with live streams and shows for other people. So if you have any live streams or show that you want help with, Fernando can help you with that. I can help you with that. And yeah, again, Fernando, thank you for having me here. And yeah, that's it. And
It's always a pleasure to have you. And also, guys, next week we will be talking about using Notion, the Notion app for work and life balance,
I know your
and
guest. I
and
have a
one
feeling.
one of our friends, Neszus Matias, will join us and teach us that and more. So see you guys next week. And thank you very much, Glenn, for joining us today. And thank you, everyone, for joining. We appreciate your presence. Until next time, and remember, everyone needs compassion. Thank you very much, guys, and good night.
Good night. Bye.